We Hawt, Chemists, and Alex.
Wah, wah.
Guys, I have no idea what's going on. I zoned out the whole time during lab. What do I do, Logan?
Oh, Alex, it's so easy. Come here and I'll tell you about it.
We started by putting liquid nitrogen in the mortar and pestle to make sure it was cold, and then we added the tuna to that and mashed it up into a fine powder. We then added an extraction buffer into that powder, shook it up, and kept it on ice to make sure the protein didn't denature.
But what's in the buffer?
I'm so glad you asked.
There are four main parts of this buffer. There's TRIS, which is a pH buffer, EDTA, which is an alkylator that slows down extra enzyme activity. There's DDT, which is a reducing agent, and then there's PMSF, which is a serine protease inhibitor. What I remember is Austin going to the centrifuge. That's right, Alex. Austin did go to the centrifuge. She ran the centrifuge at 10,000 Gs at 4 degrees Celsius for 10 minutes. That's because we wanted to get the proteins out of the rest of the junk that was in the tuna. Alex, are you listening to me? Come over here. We have a picture for you.
We then took a little bit of that supername fluid and ran it through size exclusion chromatography, and that's a column that has a special packing material called Cefidex. It takes our mixture of proteins, and when you put it through the column, it lets the big ones go down faster. So look at this picture, Alex. What shapes do you see here?
Bunch of shapes.
Yeah, you see circles. Are the circles big?
Yes.
And what's real small there? Are those triangles?
Mm-hmm.
And look at this picture. Which one comes down at the bottom first?
The circles.
That's right. So the bigger proteins will come out faster than the smaller ones. Then what we do is we take some of our fractions and we test it for absorbance at wavelengths of 280 and 415. Right here at this wavelength, light absorbs with the aromatic regions, whereas at 415, that's where we get the heme, Alex, that's where we get the heme that is in myoglobin. So we test through them to see which one has the largest area of both those wavelengths, and that's when we have our myoglobin.
Next, we precipitated out the proteins by doing 4 consecutive ammonium sulfate fractions.
What are the fractions?
Well, it was pretty simple. We took the supernatant fluid and calculated how much ammonium sulfate we would need to add to make it a 30% solution. Then we put it on ice for 10 minutes, centrifuged, decanted the solution, and added enough ammonium sulfate to make a 45% solution. After we repeated those steps, we made more for a 60 and 75% solution, each time checking for protein pellets. After we stored the pellets on ice for at negative 80 degrees for an entire week, we added SDS to denature the proteins into non-fluor and fluor parts.
Liters of each were loaded into the gel wall.
Where did Emily go? And why are you talking to me?
Alex, I've been talking to you for like 30 seconds. I just explained to you right after we left how it was vortex and then boiled for 5 minutes, and then 25 milliliters of each sample were mixed with the 5 microliters of the dye buffer, and then 8 microliters of each were loaded into the gel wall.
Oh, I remember that part. Then you said the most important thing was the buffer was below the gel wall?
No, Dr. Joyner told us that the most important part is that it's above the gel wall.
Oh.
Probably why our experiments did not turn out so well, Alex.
I don't think I was in charge of it.
Probably true. Anyways, and then for 1 hour it was put at 102 volts. And then it was stained, the gel was stained. And then we got our results from after the steam was produced.
Well, one would expect to see myoglobin at a molecular weight of 17.7 kilodaltons on the gel ladder. Our results indicated a myoglobin band in the 30 and 60% walls. One would expect to see a myoglobin stain in the walls of the 37th fraction and crude myoglobin because they had the highest concentrations of myoglobin. As you can see, we cannot visibly see walls 1 or 2, which had contained the gel ladder and crude myoglobin. Thus, our results are affected.
I don't understand how you don't get it. I mean, what do you think about doing lab?
We Hawt, Chemists, and Alex.
Wah, wah.